What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the vlog. So quite a few have been asking for an update on Timmy, my turtle, who's in this aquarium here. Timmy! He's all good, everything's great. I just haven't been showing him, mainly because the tank was going for its dirty phase, but that's sorting itself out now, looking good. Also coming up, we're going to be doing an update on all of the new setups I've been doing recently. I've done quite a few, haven't I? Having a look at how they're getting on. Problems we've had, it's not been smooth for all of them, but some of them are just, I've left alone and they're looking great. Anyway, that said, let's have a little look at Timmy's tank. Now, it's looking a little bit... No, it's pretty good, actually. No, I've just done a water change, stirred up the sand, because there was a little bit of sort of algae patches on some of the sand, so I freshened it up a bit. But not too much, look. Look at how realistic it looks. Now, where is Timmy, you might be wondering? Timmy, you can just about see one of his legs there. I'll tempt him out in a minute with some food. But let's have a look at the tank overall. Yeah, nothing's really changed, apart from the fact that all the plants that you see sort of drooping over are some of the old growth, but all the new stuff you're seeing up here, that's obviously new. It goes straight upwards. This is all new growth as well, but it's sort of flopping over. But it looks realistic, doesn't it? It's a real natural look to it. It proper looks like the corner of some kind of river somewhere, doesn't it? And that was the look I was going for with this one. Timmy, come on, you're letting me down, come out. So calling Timmy an apex predator is a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but at the end of the day it's kind of factual because he is the apex predator of this tank. Now, don't let his cuteness fool you. If he was able to catch those fish, he definitely would, and one day he will if I kept him in this size tank. But I'll upgrade the tank, more swim room, you know, lots going on. But it's really good to have the fish in with him because the enrichment it gives him is way better. I've had him in the tank on his own before. He just looks miserable, the poor thing, but now he's out all the time backwards and forwards. So I'm really glad that I keep fish with him now. Now, sometimes I actually forget how much Timmy's actually grown. So I got Timmy about 1.5 years ago, and he was so tiny.
He's the smallest one.
He's the smallest one. Is that Timmy, is it? There he is. There he is, guys. Is he cool? Let's get him home, shall we? There we go.
You nearly ripped him.
No, I won't rip him. It's just plastic. Can you see him in there?
Yeah, I know.
There we go. There he is. Whee! He loves it.
He's not swimming.
He's swimming now, look.
Hello, tortoise.
No, not tortoise, Henry. It's turtle. It's a turtle.
Hello, turtle.
Oh, the memory. So Timmy, who I'm holding here in my hand now, so if I hold him in the base of my hand, look, stay still, Timmy, don't you move. If I hold him in the base of my hand, you can see the size of him versus before. I'll put a comparison up on the screen now with him now versus, you know, 1.5 years ago. He's not the only one that's grown, to be honest. My boys are a lot bigger now as well. But awesome. It's funny, you really don't think that they've grown until you look back on videos like that, and yeah, he's got some good weight to him as well now. Put him back in. Now, Timmy's obviously still not fully grown. He'll probably get to at least double that size. He is a particularly small turtle, but we love him all the same. Here we go, look, he's coming now. Timmy, I got your food. You want some food? Did he see it? Did he see it? He saw it. Go, 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 Timmy, go. He's so funny. Like, you think he saw that, he let it go, and now it's stuck there. You gonna eat that? He spotted it. He spotted it. I think he has. Good boy. Good boy, Timmy. Go. He's right by the outlet. Come on. Yes! Successful. Of course it's successful. I am amazing killing machine. That was an attempt at a Russian accent, by the way, guys. Not Borat. So here are... I just want to tell you something. These here, I put them in with Timmy a while ago. These are white cloud mountain minnows, the golden variety look. Oh, look how good that shot looks. Look at that. Realism. In fact, I'm going to use that as the thumbnail, and I'm going to put Timmy over the top of it. Whoa, look at him coming in. Anyway, I've got 6 or 5. What have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 of those. But they were up here in this tank that I did have Timmy in. Now, this isn't even got a filter running anymore. The plants are still doing great, though. It's got a real naturalistic vibe to it. But look at this. There's a little baby one. Well, not completely baby anymore. So he's been growing in. I only noticed him about 1.5 weeks ago. I haven't even fed this tank, so he's eating all the algae and stuff like that. But I'm going to start feeding it now because he's getting a little bit bigger. I'm going to grow him a little bit bigger than that because look, let me step back. That's the size of him, and that's the size of them. I've got a feeling if I put that little guy in with those other ones, he's going to get eaten. Timmy might do as well. He's a bit silly, like he's not even scared of me, for instance, and they're not developed any sort of fear at the moment, so hopefully it will at some point. But yeah, how cool is that? Like, just walked in one day, I saw something glistening in this tank from right back, and I was like, what is that? And I moved closer, it's a baby fish! And I've not bred these before, but what that tells me is they've obviously been breeding regularly, but they've been picking off the babies either themselves or Timmy did. Probably not Timmy, because he's not the quickest of turtles. So let's have a look at his size and just see at the moment. I think we're still alright in this tank, to be honest, at the moment. I think there's plenty of space to him. He likes to go up in these corners here for basking. I've got his lamp turned off at the moment, guys, because it's very early in the morning. I don't know if you can tell from my voice, it's quite deep. It's actually only 5 AM at the moment. This light comes on at 7. So yeah, he's look at him, little explorer. Has he dropped it? I think he's dropped it. He's dropped his food somewhere, hasn't he? Although saying that, normally it floats. And I can't see it anywhere, so no, maybe he has eaten it. He's very good at eating it now, munches it down in seconds. Click subscribe. So yeah, that's Timmy's tank looking really good. He's super healthy, everything's awesome. In the last few weeks I've been setting up a few more setups as well. Setting up a few more setups. Yeah, that's right, that sounds weird. Let's take a look at them. Well, the first one I want to talk about is this awesome little vase that I made. It's just got a light from Amazon, and I got this thing from IKEA, and then I just made a little base so that the light can, you know, slip right under and just give it a sort of bit further, neat sort of finish. So there's no filter in the vase, obviously. Well, there kind of is, because the plants are the filter, but you can see it's already just grown packed full. Had a little bit of evaporation. That's how much is evaporated in 1 week. So what I'll probably do, take out about that much in a minute and fill it back up again. That's all I'll do to this tank, nothing else is required. So it's home to, well, they were a few weeks back anyway, really tiny fry. The male is getting a good size now. I'm thinking it might be a good idea to take all these guys and switch them across into the other new aquarium that I've got here. This is the one, I've just released a video for this weekend, so if you guys want to check that out, you can go and have a look. We've basically got 3 sparkling gouramis in here, which are really, really cool fish. They know me, by the way. They're also croaking gouramis, they're called, so they like make this really cool sort of clicking sound when it's quiet in here. It's not like quiet at the moment, but when it is quiet, I can just, sometimes I forget that they're here and I start hearing the croaking noise. I'm like, what is that noise? Oh yeah, it's these guys. But look how beautiful they look. Look at that, look at how, like, what would you call it? Effervescent? No, that's not the word, I don't know. Illuminant? No. Glowing, we'll just say glowing. Look at how glowing they are. It's so hard to stay still, just stay still. Stop moving, buddy. Look at the little red on the back end of the tail as well. I really like that. I think that's a female, actually. It could be a male. It's a lot smaller than the other one anyway. There's the other one, which is a bit more beastie. Looking good. What I like about them is they look so good against like greens of Anubias and big leaf stuff, that kind of thing. Oh, it looks so good. Yeah, so I went for like a real sort of detailed, naturalistic look. This is my absolute favourite kind of thing to set up because it's like just an internal filter, really cheap light, just, yeah, low tech, isn't it? I absolutely love it. Oh yeah, I also got this cool little plant just to go in the middle because there was a gap there, and yeah, it's quite nice. Asparagus fern, it is. That's a new shoot, by the way. So the last time I had one of these, I killed it because every day I kept watering it, and I just read the label on this one, once a week. So I guess that means saturate the soil once a week and then leave it, which suits me because I'm terrible for remembering to water plants. Obviously I don't have to water all of these plants, which is ideal because otherwise they'd probably be dead. But yeah, going back to the vase tank, this is the one that's got like a, you know, look at that. So I've got a layer of coarse gravel, a little bit of fine sand at the bottom, and then there's actual soil from my garden right at the base. Now, if you look here, look, we've already got the roots from that hair grass finding their way down and into the actual nutrient layer. So that'll go even further still. And if I come round here, can I turn this? I can. If I come around here, look, and if you look, I'm too close for focus, but basically there's roots now right down in this soil section from these stem plants. So that is awesome. It's worked in no time at all. All the roots are into the nutrient layer, and that explains why the plants are looking so healthy and good. They're providing the oxygen, by the way, for the fish. That's how it works, doesn't it? Plants create oxygen. So people are wondering, you know, how the fish will get oxygen. Well, the plants create it because you obviously haven't got surface flow. And also, usually I tend to get a film on the top, but there's no film at all on this one. And like you saw, I haven't changed the water for a week either. So, I mean, even from the start of this one, I just observed it, and it didn't need a lot of a water change. So, for the first week, I was doing it daily, but I was only actually taking out about, you know, just a little bit and keep topping it back up again. I didn't do my usual big ones because I just took a look at it and made a judgment call that it didn't need it. The plants were looking so good, going from strength to strength, and they still are. Absolutely love this. I'll leave a link, guys, if you fancy doing something like this. This looks great in like a, I don't know, like an office space, maybe a kitchen, something like that. My wife actually said to me, why don't you bring this one back for the kitchen at home? So it might be something that I do, or maybe I'll just create another one. Yeah, why not? So I went for like a really wild look on this one. It might be best to do a more contemporary style. I don't know. Either way, it looks cool. Right, guys, I don't often have it, but I've got to move on to a little bit of bad news. Now, the first of two pieces of bad news, actually. The first one is kind of my fault, kind of mechanical failure. Still my fault though, because I didn't check often enough the equipment. Let me show you what I'm talking about. It's this tank behind me that I set up a while back for my golden ram cichlids. So yeah, if you notice there, I said golden ram cichlids. What can you see in here? Well, currently just the ember tetras, but also there should be 2 ram cichlids. Currently there is just a male. Yeah, the female died. My own fault. So after I was doing some maintenance on the tank, I cleaned that pipe at the back there, and at the bottom there is this little thing there that you turn that increases or decreases the pipe there that pulls that, like surface skimmer basically. So you can see there hello buddy, where it comes down. Well, I accidentally knocked it, and it was sucking too hard. It pulled that whole pipe down flat level with that metal piece, which meant that then it just looked like this basically in the water. Let me push it down. It looked like that, staying there. Now the female must have gone over the top and got sucked right down into the pipe. You know, I noticed for 2 days I hadn't seen her. I thought she might have been hiding in rocks or something, and I thought, you know what, this isn't right, because these guys were spawning, and it was so good, so cool. The first time I'd had ram spawning, you see, I was excited about it. They were spawning in this tank as well, but then I found her in the filter, just gone, you know, so there was nothing I could do. So technically failure, not failure, but like I checked it though. I always check it afterwards to make sure it's skimming, but I must not have had it set quite right or something like that. And yeah, it was down anyway when I checked, so it wasn't good. So lesson learnt there. I'm constantly checking any tanks that have got these now that have got small fish in. For instance, this the Amazon tank that you can see this side, lots of small fish in here, and as you can see right in the background, oh, I just banged the glass, they all went crazy. That's it sat at the top there. So I make sure now that that is always the case. If you guys have got these as well, because I have recommended them a lot and they are very good, it is technically my fault, and I'm gutted for it because I was enjoying this tank so much. Well, I was enjoying these 2 fish so much. They're really good. I've not had a huge amount of luck with rams. Quite often apparently they're so heavily bred nowadays that they are a bit weak. Do you know what I mean? So when you find a good pair that are doing well, it's really great, and I did have that, so I'm a little bit gutted. But you know, accidents do happen. I'd rather be 100% real with you guys and tell you this. Rather, I could easily just go out and buy another female golden ram, and they're not rare, are they? So, but that's not real. I want to keep it real. And then moving on to the second piece of bad news, guys. You might notice in the tank behind me, just doing some B-roll maintenance now, there is a fish missing. So shortly after the previous video showed you of the discus tank behind me, I showed you that there was a sick fish. I thought I'd healed it. I put it back into the tank again, and it was swimming absolutely fine. Now, I think that was just the excitement and adrenaline of being back in the main tank, because the very next morning I went in and it was pretty much the same situation again. The fish had turned upwards, so its mouth was at the top constantly, tail right down on the bottom, and it's a swim bladder issue. Now, it was the runt of the litter, the smallest one. It's been explained possibly that the fish's internal organs kept growing and the outside of the fish didn't. Therefore, there's no room inside for the swim bladder. Air gets trapped or caught, and you know, there's nothing I could do. So I I put it back in the medicating tank that I had it in before. I tried every single possible way to try and cure that fish. It got worse and worse and worse to the point where the fish wasn't eating anymore. And to be honest, I felt really cruel watching that happen. So I chose for the first time, no, second time I've actually done this before, to euthanize the fish using the clove oil method, a high dose. Basically, the fish just goes to sleep really gentle. It's yeah, it's not nice at all, but it is kind of like good to know that the fish was absolutely fine. Because it's a big fish, it's not like a little tiny fish. You kind of feel like they're just sort of on autopilot all the time, whereas the discus feels like it's far more aware of everything. So it was nice to see the fish wasn't suffering, just went gently to sleep. And then I took the fish out, I dug a hole and buried it properly and done it all, you know, the nice proper way. And then I felt kind of a big relief afterwards. I know that sounds bad possibly, but maybe other people who have had sick fish and had to euthanize know what I mean. It's like a load off, it's a very selfish way of looking at it, but a load off your shoulders, but also you feel good that the fish isn't suffering anymore. Now, this is nothing I could have done. This is definitely an internal problem. I tried all the medication you could think of. I tried all the salt you could think of. Not all the salt, but you know, the right amount of salt. And I also tried the antibiotics as well to try and cure anything that might have been parasitic inside. It wasn't, it was just genetics. Nothing I could do. That said, we've still got the 5 gorgeous discus in there. They're doing absolutely fantastic. No signs of any other problems with them at all. They're all really fine, perfect specimens as well. But there is some details about the tank I want to talk to you about because it could be interesting and also useful for you guys in your own tanks. So here is the discus tank, fresh after a nice water change, glass clean. All the fish all looking really healthy. Hello guys. Yeah, I know, you probably miss your buddy. No doubt they'll know that there isn't a fish in the tank with them. Granted, I didn't just do that. It was about 4 or 5 days ago I actually euthanized the pigeon blood one. But I want to talk to you a bit about the plants in this tank and the fact I've been struggling with a little bit of cyanobacteria again, as always in this tank. Like, look at that rock where that cory is on there. So all that algae there is actually cyanobacteria. It doesn't look like it in this light, but it is. And if you have a look, these plants here, this is Hygrophila compacta, something like that. Look at how lush that is. That's doing absolutely insane. I've just started adding a lot more fertilizer to this. So everyone always asks me, but I use the API Leaf Zone. Now, it turns out I wasn't dosing anywhere near enough of this stuff for the size tank and the amount of plants that are in there. So I'm dosing more of that. But recently, I just did a water test on this because I noticed, I remembered something, and also I was researching, and it suggested that cyanobacteria can be caused by no nitrates or very, very low nitrates. And I thought, well, surely I haven't got low nitrates with these fish producing a huge amount of waste. So I did a water test, and guess what? The results are in. They are basically showing, I'll spin that around. This is, by the way, this is my API master test kit. Really good. It's got, you know, stuff you need quick. But basically what I'm showing here, look, we have gotten 0 nitrates basically. Now what's interesting is that some of the plants are really starting to struggle. So look at some of the stems at the back there. They've got real black bits on it. That's a good example right there where bits are broken off. Like, look at this Ludwigia here, an easy plant to grow. That's starting to recover now since I added in the extra ferts. But that one, look, that's not wood. That's just where the stalk or stem of the stem plant, not the stalk, is just all sort of broken away and turned black. It's a deficiency in something, obviously. But what's really interesting then, so that's the nitrates coming out of this tank. This nitrates, which is showing around the 10 to 20 to 30 mark, which is actually what you want in a planted tank. So many reefers out there with their corals and that like to get the nitrates as low as possible. In a big planted tank, you do not want that. Like, the plants will massively suffer. But look at this one, nice and dark, and this is from the Buddha aquarium here, look, where the plants are absolutely thriving. There is not a single piece of algae in this whole tank. There's not even sort of anything on the glass even. So basically I need to get my nitrates up. But MD, I hear you saying, or not, but why are your nitrates 0 anyway in this tank if you're heavily feeding the discus are producing a lot of waste? And then I remembered something, what I did with these filters. So the tank is run by a massive Oase Biomaster Thermo 800, I think 800, and also a 600. Amazing filters, really good. Expensive, but you get what you pay for. They've got built-in heaters and all that sort of thing. Oh, that third one's just empty and not being used at the moment. Anyway, so those are massively good filters as they are, but I took the advice of, like, you know, all the stuff you see online, changed out the media inside and absolutely crammed almost like 80% of that with basically crushed lava rock in bags. So what I've done is made the filters far too efficient, and as a result they're just getting rid of all of the nitrate in the tank. Now, and then it clicked. I remember George Farmer saying one time, when, because he's an ambassador of Awase, someone said to him, oh, why don't you change the media out for different stuff? And it's like, he was like, no, it's absolutely fine as it is. And he's right. Like, you know, I've made it too efficient. There was nothing wrong with how it was as standard. And that actually leads back to the Buddha tank as well. So again, this is a pretty big sized aquarium, you know. It's 900 mil wide and 4 or 5 back and 5 high. I don't know, like, it's 3 foot basically. But inside, all that's running on it is a little Awase 250 with all the standard stuff inside of it, which means that's why we've got the right amount of nitrates. Also linked to low nitrates or no nitrates is cyanobacteria, but also it can make your plants not grow very well. So that's it. Hopefully solved. Now obviously the proof will be in the pudding. Once I get those nitrates back up again, I don't want to do it by just like putting loads of food and all that in the tank. Let's just do it a bit more scientific. We can sort of gauge it. That's why a test kit is so key. First of all, I tested to see if there was any iron in the tank, reading nothing. Again, that's because I wasn't putting anything like enough fertilizers in for that size of tank and the amount of plants in there. The second thing I checked was the nitrates, and again, yeah, it didn't register at all. So you've not got to identify the problem. The only way to do that really is with water testing, isn't it? I never really need to test for ammonia and things like that, because just I know what I'm doing in that aspect of things, but the fine tuning sometimes of the plants is where it can be really useful. And also, guys, if you've got this far in the video, you're a true MD fan, you know, you're part of my community. Comment below if you've got this far into the video. I want to let you into a little bit of a secret. The Amazon tank is changing. We're going to be doing the Amazon tank 2. I'm keeping all the fish. I absolutely love the fish. I love the tank, don't get me wrong. It's just that what I did with this when I set it up was, like, basically the fish are all stuck right in the foreground here, and there's pretty much just a dark Barrett. Half the tank is just unused because it's too dark to grow plants in, and the fish don't even like going in there. They just sat at the front like this all the time. So I want to do something completely different. I want to make an ultra realistic one this time. I mean, this is nice, but it's not that realistic, is it? I'm going to make a Rio Negro sort of style one. Loads and loads of detail. Plants in the right areas, lots of wood, lots of, you know, kind of what we've got here, but in a more like realistic way. Again, let me know in the comments if you're looking forward to that. The Amazon tank 2, it's coming. So yeah, a couple of bad incidences there. Now, when you keep as many fish as I do, there's going to be stuff cropping up here and there. All I can do is make sure that my water's good, and I'm trying my absolute best at all times. If something new comes up that I've not experienced before, I need to learn from it, make sure it doesn't happen again. As fish keepers, that's all we can do. If you're deficient in information, then you probably don't know that you are until an incident happens. You know, you can't research absolutely everything. It's usually something that happens causes you to go and research the issue. As long as you are doing that and not just going, well, it died, you know, because that isn't always the case. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't, but you should at least look into it, make sure it's not you. And first of all, you could be happy in your own fish keeping abilities, and second of all, you can learn something, which is really key into getting better in the hobby. Not just with fish keeping, with aquascaping, with everything. That said, guys, if you have enjoyed this video, please consider hitting the like and subscribe button, and I will see you guys on the next one.